Hi everyone, it's Leigh here. Thanks for joining me again. Big thank you to returning viewers and all my subscribers, and a warm welcome to anyone who might be here for the first time. So I'm going to show you today my little Halloween journal. So this is a cloth journal. I had seen like that Tim Holtz had a cloth journal in his shop, in his range of products, and I thought I'd just have a go at making one myself, and this is what eventuated. So I'll just quickly show you this thing on the front. So well, as you can see, it's a really chunky little book. Probably has got a bit too much in it for the size of the spine, but that's just the way this one turned out because I just kept adding more and more stuff to it. I made a closure for it out of a piece of cardstock that I had monogamied and then had treated it with shoe polish and a couple of other things. So I cut a couple of strips and made a closure out of it. So what I've got here is a piece of a plastic branch that I've sewn on, hand stitched onto the closure. I've got a couple of brads that I've poked through just for decoration, a clock and a skull, and that's just held in place by a couple of velcro dots. So it's only thin and it's just meant to hold the book closed, so it won't bear too much weight. I thought it was quite attractive for what it was. It was easy to make. I just had to join the two pieces together, and I just touched it up with a bit of gold gilding paste. That's what Okay, so for the cover, well, this is the exposed spine. You can see here that's just got some paint, a few other things on it. That's a piece of a table runner, Halloween table runner. Now the main cloth that I made this with is actually a painter's drop sheet, so it's like a thick, very thick cotton. On the front, I've just used various pieces of paper and cardstock and layered up underneath, and then put this type of frame that I just fashioned out of some other cardstock on top of it with a Tim Holtz portrait behind it, and I've just decorated it with a bit of a die cut, that bit here, and various inks and paints and a little bit of embossing on that as well. And this is just a little dangle that I made from various bits and pieces, and it's just all sort of wound onto a piece of copper wire. So that's the front cover. When you open it up, well, you can see the fabric a bit more clearly now. So it's quite a thick fabric in a sort of neutral tone. So the first thing I put into the book was a pocket on the inside cover. So that's a piece of watercolor paper. Actually has a painting on it. I just cut it up, made it into a pocket. So I've just decorated it with a few bits and pieces of die cuts, and I've used embossing on that flower and on that 4.5. There's the moon there. And then this is actually, like, I made a journal card, and that is printed onto acetate, that picture on the front there. So it's manila folder. So that's what it looks like when you put it under an acetate print. On this page I have a little flip out, so I've got this pocket here, so that's more of that die cut that's on the front cover, and a die cut bird specimen slide, and I've just embossed that with a bit of the copper embossing, the same stuff that's on the front cover. So inside this pocket I have a Turkish map folded piece of paper, which I'm calling it my most wanted. So I've got some shady looking characters glued onto that, and that just folds up, and I've got a little closure there with a piece of string. So that's been stamped, and I just put an extra bit on the top and put some eyes on the skull stamp, and that goes in there. On this side there's a couple of things. So there's a little pocket here, or tuck spot, and there's another one behind. So that was a couple of tea tea cards that I thought were a little bit spooky looking, so I popped them in there. And this one, I had a little bit of fun on an altered playing card with some Tim Holtz paper dolls, where I cut heads off other paper dolls and stuck them onto these figures. So these heads actually weren't from the Tim Holtz range at all, so that was something else that I printed off. So that was just a little bit of fun there, and that all goes back in there. And then on the next page, it's just a decorative page, and I've got a die cut window here, and you can open that up and see inside the window. On this other page is another flip out, and I've got Tim Holtz paper dolls here. I cut out a coffin shape from some embossed craft paper, so that's what that is. They're leaning on that. I used some bits of cardboard underneath these paper dolls to lift them off the page, so they've got a bit more dimension there, and a stamp, the Undertaker stamp. So that flips out like that, and in here, which is a file folder, mini file folder, I've got a transparent butterfly on top of a stamped field label. And so we've got the two pockets there. That's just one of my paintings. I've done, or I've added a little tab onto it. And this is actually a tuck spot here on the front too. So that one goes in there. That's a closed pocket. And then this is a tuck spot. So I've made a journal card from the skull stamp being stamped onto some book page. It's tea-dyed, coffee-dyed, I should say, book page. And I just punched out 2 holes in the eye sockets and put some red paper behind there. And then I've glued it onto a piece of avocado dyed paper to make a journal card. And applied an acetate tab on the top there, so that pops in there. On the next page is purely a look page. So I've just got a few different elements there. I've got this lady playing a piano, got an embossed moon in the background, a little headstone there. This was just a piece that I'd punched out some numbers from. A bit of cotton binding or strip of cotton cloth with skulls stamped on it down the side. Made this label. It's got a bit of the threads off the book page behind it, and I used a couple of brads to decorate that. This page here is also a decorative one, but it is actually a pocket. So we've got the die cut clock, some corrugated cardboard, a grungy looking doily. I've got this digital page here that I printed onto cardstock, and I've used that to stiffen the page up so it was, strong enough to make it into a pocket. That's some film strip washi tape and a brad there. And inside the pocket there's another little pocket or a folder. So it's a tuck spot at the front there underneath the little child, and then in here is another tuck spot type pocket, and that's just a cotton tab that goes in there. On the other side is another purely decorative page, so it's got all sorts of elements in there, bits and pieces. That there is napkin, paper napkin, gold watercolour splashes. Over to this page here, same thing, just a decorative page, but it is a pocket. This has got several layers on it, so it's really thick, quite thick and sturdy. So that's a Tim Holtz portrait there. Acetate on this frame, and I just dribbled some red alcohol ink down it so it looked a little bit murdery. And I've used various little digitals and stamps and things, stitching, and Distress Oxide inks have been used all over this to give it the grungy look. So over on this side, this isn't a pocket, but on this side it is a belly band. So it's the belly band there with a few different elements, some die cuts, lots of stitching, another bat, another spooky person, and then inside the belly band is a little matchbook notebook, just made up with some scraps of paper. And that just lives in there. Over on this side, this page is a pocket. So I've used a few different elements here. It's got a black base. Then there's this like a big ticket that I've used to make another part of the page, another layer. Then all different things stamped and stuck on there. They're Tim Holtz paper dolls. I'm not sure where that came from. Die cut numbers, some shabby bits of lace, and I just put a die cut frame around the children's heads. Inside the pocket is another altered Tim Holtz doll. Well, not really. So this is from the photo booth photos. And so is that head there, but this actual person's body is from another digital kit. I put wings on it, took the original head off it, which was a child's head, and stuck that lady's head on and played with the eyes, and then cut another head out, and I cut around the arm because it was a child holding a football or something under their arm, so I cut around the arm and I put that fella's head in there and dribbled some alcohol ink on there to make it look murdery. That's also got an acetate tab. Over here, got another flip fold out thingamajig. So that is another printable, not sure where it came from. I can probably list it in the video description box. Lots of ratty stitching. Another altered playing card in there, made into a journaling card. So it's got a tuck spot at the front behind the girl. Another little tuck spot here with a specimen card in it. And just an image here. Another tuck spot here with another specimen card. Another altered playing card, and then just a little tag. Another tuck spot here with a little notebook made out of scrappy papers, and that's an altered playing card. I've used one of the pages, stitched them together to make this pocket, so I've just folded over one edge, stitched it down. That is a stencil there, so it's been applied with acrylic paint. There's some ink on it and a bit of splattering of some white paint and some gold watercolor paint, and there's a brad just down on the corner there. And inside that pocket there's this little file folder which I made into a pocket. I've got a little key hanging on that one. On the front is a slide, specimen slide that I just opened up and stitched onto the front cover of the file folder. And I stitched down the middle and made this side into a little pocket that will hold a small tag like that. So on this side I've got this spooky looking head behind some acetate that's been coloured with alcohol ink. Inside the file folder is this little identification card. So on the outside I've just covered that in the same stencil as I've used here, but that's just been done with distress ink. That goes in that pocket there, and the little key hangs out. So that's the little book. So as you can see, very chunky. And to put back in the holder, goes over there, and then meet up the Velcro dots. So, and that's what it looks like when it's closed up. Let me know what you think of this. I think I might put this in my Etsy shop. I'll see how I feel about that, or whether I just want to hang on to it, and I might make another one. But hope you enjoyed that little flip through, and I'll give you an idea of how to make one of these cloth journals in another video. So thanks for watching. Cheers from Australia. Happy crafting. Hooroo.